Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are doing something that, uh, frankly, I was a little skeptical about when I first saw the source stack.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We aren't looking at a modern bestseller or a piece of breaking news or even, a theological treatise from the Reformation. We are getting into a time machine.
A literary time machine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We are going back to 458 BCE. We're going to the city of Athens, to the theater of Dionysus, and we're looking at Aeschylus's Agamemnon.
Right. It's the first play in the Oresteia trilogy. It is a mountain of a text.
It really is.
It's dense, it's violent, poetic, and, you could argue it's one of the most important things ever written in the Western canon.
But here's the catch, and this is the question I really want to press you on today, because I think a lot of our listeners might be wondering the same thing.
Okay.
This is a pagan play. It's full of gods that don't exist, morals that seem totally alien, and a level of despair that is, frankly, suffocating.
It is.
So the question is, how can a Christian benefit from reading this? Why should a believer spend their time wading through this river of blood?
It's a completely valid pushback. I get it.
Yeah.
On the surface, it looks like you're just stepping into a horror show.
Yeah.
But I want to frame it differently. Think of this play as a pre-evangelium.
A pre-gospel.
Yes. Or maybe a shadow gospel, if you like.
Yeah.
You see, Aeschylus is a master diagnostician. He looks at the human condition. Our obsession with revenge, our entrapment in sin, the way violence just begets more violence, and he describes it with terrifying accuracy.
So he shows us the
He
wound.
shows us the wound, and he shows us that the wound is fatal.
But he doesn't have the medicine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The diagnosis, but he has absolutely no cure. And that is why a Christian should read it. Because when you see the darkness of the world without grace, when you see a world where forgiveness is literally structurally impossible, the light of the gospel doesn't just look nice, it looks necessary, it looks radical.
So we're looking at this play as a sort of a dark backdrop to make the real things stand out more.
Precisely. We're going to spoil the Egyptians, as Augustine would say. We're going to take the gold of this pagan insight, the truth it tells about human nature, and use it to understand why the Christian solution is the only one that actually works.
Okay, I'm listening. But before we get to theology, we have to deal with the story. And man, what a story.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Usually when we talk about backstory in a deep dive, it's like, oh, this guy went to Harvard. Here, the backstory is a complete nightmare.
It is. You cannot understand Agamemnon without understanding the curse, the House of Atreus.
Right. Set the scene for us. Because the play starts in the city of Argos, but the rot.
Yeah.
The rot started a generation earlier.
It starts with two brothers, Atreus and Thyestes. They're the sons of Pelops. And they are fighting over the throne of Argos.
A classic power struggle.
A classic power struggle, but it gets incredibly dark, incredibly fast. Thyestes sleeps with Atreus' wife to get leverage.
Okay.
Atreus finds out, and he exiles his brother.
Standard Game of Thrones stuff so far.
Pretty much. But then Atreus invites Thyestes back. He claims he wants a reconciliation. He throws a massive banquet, a feast to celebrate their brotherhood.
The Feast of Thyestes. I've read about this.
Yes. Thyestes sits down. He's happy. He's relieved. He's eating the meat that his brother has so generously prepared for him. And after he's full, after he has eaten, Atreus reveals the truth. He brings out a platter with the heads and hands of Thyestes' own children.
He fed him his own kid.
He cooked them and served them to their father.
I have read this in the notes, but hearing it said out loud, it is just retch-inducing.
It is.
It's demonic.
It is the ultimate violation. It violates hospitality, it violates family, it violates nature itself. And Thyestes, in his horror, vomits up the flesh. He kicks over the table and he curses the house. He prays that the entire race of Pleisthenes, their ancestors, will just crash and ruin.
And that curse isn't just words in this worldview, is it? It's not just him being angry.
No, not at all. In the Greek mind, a curse like that is almost like a physical thing. It's a virus.
A virus.
Yeah, it enters the bloodstream of the family. And this creates what we call the cycle of violence. The grandfather sins, so the father must pay, so the son must kill the father, and on and on and on.
This is where I want to pause and compare this to the Bible. Because we do hear about generational sin in Scripture.
We do.
Exodus 20.5, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children. Is Aeschylus talking about the same thing?
It sounds similar, but the mechanism is totally different.
How so?
In the Bible, that warning is about patterns. It's about influence. If a father is an alcoholic, The son is more likely to struggle with that. The consequences ripple down through generations.
Sure.
But, and this is huge, Ezekiel 18 completely explodes the idea of fatalism. It says, the soul who sins shall die. If the son sees the father's sin and turns away from it, he shall live.
So in the Bible, the cycle can be broken.
Yes, by repentance.
You can step out of the stream.
You can step out of the stream. In the world of Agamemnon, the stream drags you under. It's mechanical doom. You are guilty because of who your dad was, and you will sin because your blood demands it. There is no repentance in the House of Atreus. There's only repetition.
That is a terrifying thought, being born into a script you can't change.
It's the definition of hopelessness. And that is the atmosphere when the play actually opens. We're on the roof of the palace in Argos. It's night. And we meet the watchman.
I actually really felt for this guy. He's not a king or a hero. He's a grunt.
He's just a regular guy who has been forced to lie on that roof night after night for a year.
A whole year?
A whole year. He's waiting for a signal fire.
Explain the signal fire system, because this is actually pretty cool tech for the ancient world.
It is pretty impressive. Agamemnon is away at the Trojan War. He's been gone 10 years.
10 years.
Right. And they've set up a chain of bonfires on mountain peaks, all the way from Troy, across the Aegean Sea, island to island, all the way to Argos. The idea is, the moment Troy falls, the first fire is lit, then the next watchman sees it and lights his, and so on and so on.
It's a primitive telegraph.
Basically, yeah, a telegraph of fire.
So he's waiting for the mission accomplished sign, but he doesn't seem happy about it.
No. He's miserable. He compares himself to a dog. He's wet with dew. He tries to sing to keep himself awake, but he just ends up weeping. He says, I weep for the passing of this house's labor, not well mastered as it was of old.
Not well mastered, like a very polite way of saying things are going off the rails.
It's an incredibly loaded phrase. He knows what's happening downstairs. He knows what Queen Clytemnestra is doing.
But he can't say it.
He can't. He uses this famous line, a great ox stands on my tongue.
The ox on the tongue.
It means he's been bought off, or maybe terrified into silence. The house is full of secrets. And then, bam, he sees the fire.
The beacon lights up. Troy has fallen. Agamemnon is coming home.
And notice his reaction. He shouts for joy for a second, he does a little dance, but then he immediately pivots back to dread. He says, may it be my lot to grasp the well-loved hand of the master, but for the rest, I'm silent.
He knows that the return of the king isn't going to be a parade.
No.
It's going to be a collision.
It is. The source material points out something fascinating here. That line of fire. It brings news of victory, yes. But it also represents the travel of fate. The fire that burned Troy is now physically rushing toward Argos. The destruction is coming home.
So the war isn't staying over there, it's importing the violence.
Violence is contagious. That's the lesson. It never stays contained.
Now, this brings us to the chorus. A group of old men, too old to fight, who were left behind. And they start filling us in on another piece of the puzzle. The reason Agamemnon has been gone for 10 years in the first place.
Yes, this is the omen of the eagles. And if you think the Feast of Thyestes was dark, this is where the tragedy becomes personal for Agamemnon himself.
Tell us about the eagles.
So, 10 years ago, as the Greek fleet is launching to go to Troy, 2 eagles swoop down, one black, one white-tailed, and they catch a pregnant hare.
A rabbit.
A pregnant rabbit, and they tear it apart and eat it, along with its unborn babies.
So,
the Greeks did not do subtle. The prophet Calchas sees this and interprets it immediately.
And what's the interpretation?
The eagles are the 2 kings, Agamemnon and his brother Menelaus. The pregnant hare is the city of Troy.
Okay, that makes sense.
The prophecy is, you will take the city, but you will destroy the innocent to do it. You will devour the future.
And the gods are watching.
Artemis is watching. She's the goddess of the hunt, but also the protector of the young. She is disgusted by what the eagles did. The text says she loathes the feast of the eagles, so she retaliates. She stops the winds.
This is a massive problem for a sailing fleet.
It's catastrophic. The entire fleet is stranded at Aulis. Thousands of men, ships rotting in the harbor, supplies are running out, disease is starting to spread.
The whole expedition is failing before it even starts.
Exactly. And Agamemnon is the commander. He is desperate. He asks the prophet, what do I do? How do I get the wind back?
And the answer is the price of admission to the war.
The answer is, you must sacrifice your daughter, Iphigenia, to Artemis.
This is the moment. This is the moral pivot point of the entire play, isn't it?
It is. And I want us to slow down here because we need to understand Agamemnon's choice. We often think of these Greek heroes as puppets of fate, like they have no choice.
Right, like it was all predetermined.
But Aeschylus is very, very careful here. He describes Agamemnon agonizing over it.
He knows it's wrong.
Of course he does. He says, "Heavy is my fate if I disobey, but heavy too if I slaughter my child, the beauty of my house." He sees the horror of it, of polluting his hands with his own daughter's blood.
But then he says something that it chills me to the bone. He asks, "May I desert the fleet? May I fail my alliance?"
And that's the turn.
It is.
Then the text says, he put on the yoke of necessity.
The yoke of necessity. Let's unpack that phrase.
It's a psychological shift. It's a rationalization. He convinces himself that he has no choice.
He's off the hook in his own mind.
Right. He reframes the murder as a duty, a grim necessity. He stops looking at her as his daughter and starts looking at her as a currency he has to spend to buy the wind.
He chooses his career over his child.
He chooses ambition. He chooses the war. And the description of the sacrifice, it's just haunting. The chorus describes how Iphigenia pleads with him. She calls out "Father" repeatedly.
And what does he do?
He orders his men to gag her.
He gags her. Why?
Yes, so she cannot curse the house with her dying breath.
Wow.
They lift her up like a goat above the altar, and as her saffron robes fall to the ground, which is a symbol of her wedding dress that she will never wear, she looks at each of her killers with her eyes, pleading, and Agamemnon gives the order.
You know, as a parent, that is physically painful to hear. It's the ultimate betrayal. The one person whose job it is to protect you kills you for a promotion.
And for a Christian reader, this is a stark depiction of human depravity. We like to think people are generally good. Aeschylus says, no. Under pressure, the human will warps. Agamemnon isn't some cartoon villain. He's a king, a leader, a good man by the standards of his society. And yet, he is capable of this.
So he gets the win, he sails to Troy, he wins, and now 10 years later he's coming back. But who is waiting for him?
Clytemnestra, the mother.
And she hasn't forgotten.
She has been nursing this hate for 10 years. Every single day Agamemnon was gone, she was thinking about Iphigenia. She has taken a lover, Aeschylus, by the way, just to keep the family tree complicated.
Here we go.
He happens to be the surviving son of Thyestes.
Of course he is. The son of the man who was fed his children.
The very one. So he has his own reasons for revenge. And he and Clytemnestra have been plotting.
So we move to part 2, the return. The herald arrives first, right? Before the king.
Yes. And the herald is a fascinating character study in PTSD. He runs in, he kisses the ground, he thanks the gods. But when he starts talking about the war, it's not glorious.
No, he talks about the lice.
The lice, the rain, the birds dying in the cold. He says he is born brother to the mire of war. It completely deromanticizes the whole thing.
It makes it real and gritty.
Exactly. But then he drops a bombshell. He mentions that when the Greeks took Troy, they destroyed the altars of the gods.
They committed sacrilege.
Yes.
Yeah.
They didn't just win a war, they declared war on heaven. They destroyed the holy places. So the herald is standing there saying, we won. But the audience knows, oh no, you are cursed.
You are bringing the wrath of the gods back in your luggage.
Exactly. And then she enters, Clytemnestra.
The sources describe her as having a man-counseled heart. What does that mean?
It means she thinks like a king, not a queen. In this society, women were supposed to be passive, domestic. Clytemnestra is a political genius. She's dominant. She has been running the city with an iron fist, and she is completely in control of the stage.
She plays the role of the loving wife perfectly.
It's a performance. It's brilliant. She comes out, makes this long, flowery speech about how much she missed him, how she cried herself to sleep.
It's all lies.
Every word. And then she springs her trap.
The purple carpet.
The tapestries. She orders her slave girls to pave the path from his chariot to the palace door with these expensive purple-dyed fabrics.
Now, to a modern ear, this just sounds like a red carpet event. You know, like the Oscars. What's the big deal?
Huge cultural difference. A massive deal. In ancient Greece, you do not walk on purple dye.
Why not?
Purple dye came from crushing thousands and thousands of tiny sea snails, the murex snail. It was unbelievably expensive. To walk on it, to trample that kind of wealth into the mud, was an act of extreme arrogance.
Something only a god should do.
Exactly. It was reserved for the gods.
So if a human does it...
It's hubris. It invites the evil eye of the gods. It's like saying, I am so high above everything that I can destroy wealth just by walking.
And Agamemnon knows this, right? He hesitates.
He does. He sees the carpet and he immediately objects. He says, do not try to make me a woman with these softnesses. Treat me as a man, not a god.
He knows it's a trap.
He knows it's a spiritual trap, and he knows it's wrong. Well,
So why does he do it? Because he does do it.
because Clytemnestra knows exactly where to poke him. She's a master manipulator. She challenges his masculinity. She asks, what would Priam, the king of Troy, have done if he had won? Agamemnon says, well, he certainly would have walked on the tapestry.
He walks right into it.
Right into it. And she says, are you afraid of what people will think?
She calls him a coward.
Basically. And his vanity takes over, his pride. He wants to be greater than Priam. He wants to be the god king. So he takes off his sandals, which is this feeble, pathetic attempt to be humble. And he steps onto the purple.
That image is so powerful. He is walking on a river of blood-red fabric straight into the house where his wife is waiting to kill him.
It is the visual climax of the first half. It's brilliant stagecraft. And for the Christian reader, it connects so powerfully to Proverbs 16:18. Pride goes before destruction.
He literally walks into his own grave.
Yes, because he cannot resist the urge to be exalted.
It's the anti-humility. It's the opposite of Christ, isn't it?
Completely.
Christ, who is God, humbles himself and takes the form of a servant. Agamemnon, who is a man, tries to exalt himself to the level of a god.
And that exaltation leads directly to death. The doors close behind him. The trap is sprung.
This leads us to the murder, but it's not a duel or a fight. It's an execution.
It is. It happens off stage, which is traditional for Greek tragedy. We don't see it. We hear it. We hear his screams from inside. I am struck with a mortal blow.
Chilling.
But then the doors open again, and we see the aftermath.
Describe the scene for us.
Clytemnestra is standing there. Agamemnon is dead in the bath. Cassandra, the Trojan princess he brought back as a war prize, is dead beside him. And Clytemnestra is covered in blood. And she isn't hiding it. She's reveling in it.
She describes the murder in detail, doesn't she?
She does. She glories in it. She talks about how she welcomed him, gave him a ritual of hospitality, and then as he was stepping out, she threw a net over him.
The net. We have to talk about this image because it keeps coming up throughout the play.
It's the central metaphor of the entire trilogy. He is trapped in a physical net, a heavy robe with no armholes, so he couldn't fight back or defend himself.
Right.
But the play suggests he was already in a net long before that.
The net of the curse.
The net of the curse. The net of his decision to kill Iphigenia. The net of the war. The net of his own pride. Aeschylus is showing us that sin is a web. You weave it, and eventually you get caught in it. You cannot just walk away from your actions. They surround you.
And so Clytemnestra stands there over the bodies, and she makes a legal argument. She says, this isn't murder, this is justice.
By justice, I exacted it. That's her claim. She says she is the executioner for the house. She didn't just kill a husband. She killed the murderer of Iphigenia. She claims she is the embodiment of the demon, the avenging spirit of the family.
This is the core friction of the play, then? Is she right?
That is the question the play forces you to ask.
Yeah.
And in a way, yeah. Agamemnon deserved to die for what he did to his daughter. The punishment fits the crime. But, and this is the huge, but, does her killing him fix it? Or does it just make her a murderer too?
It seems like it just passes the curse to her. Now she has blood on her hands. The account isn't settled.
Exactly. She thinks she has swept the madness from the hall. She says we can finally have peace. But the audience knows that her son, Orestes, is out there somewhere. And now, by the laws of this curse, Orestes must kill his mother to avenge his father.
It's a spiral. It's a snake eating its own tail. It never ends.
It's the fundamental problem of human justice, when it's just revenge. If justice is just revenge, when does it stop? If I kill you, your brother kills me, my son kills your brother. It leads to extinction. There's no off-ramp.
I want to bring the Bible back in here because we often hear eye for an eye from the Old Testament, and we think it means, go get your revenge.
Right.
But you're saying the biblical concept is different?
Radically different. The lex talionis, eye for an eye, was actually a limitation. It was a mercy.
How is it a mercy?
In the ancient world, if you knocked out a nobleman's tooth, he might have the right to kill your whole family in return. The retaliation was disproportionate. The Bible stepped in and said, no, only a tooth for a tooth. It put a cap on the violence. It was specifically designed to stop the very escalation we see in Agamemnon.
And the New Testament goes even further.
Romans 12:1. Vengeance is mine, I will repay, says the Lord.
That verse hits so hard after reading this play, because in Agamemnon, everyone tries to take vengeance into their own hands. Clytemnestra, Aeschylus, later Orestes.
And every single time they do, they make it worse. The play is a perfect demonstration of why humans are not qualified to be the final judges. We are too biased, too hurt, too involved. When we try to be God, we become monsters.
So the Christian benefit here is seeing the chaos of a world where humans usurp God's role as judge.
Yes, it validates the biblical command to leave room for God's wrath, because God is the only one who can judge righteously without starting a new cycle of sin.
Before we get to the resolution, or, well, the lack of a resolution, we have to talk about the character we skipped over, Cassandra.
Oh, Cassandra, she is the emotional heart of the tragedy for me.
She is a Trojan princess, a prophetess of Apollo, brought back as a slave, a war prize. But she has a curse of her own.
The curse of Apollo. She has the gift of true prophecy. She can see the future with perfect clarity. But the curse is that no one will ever believe her.
Imagine the psychological torture of that.
It's unbearable. You see a disaster coming, you warn people, and they just look at you like you're crazy.
She stands outside the palace while Agamemnon is inside, and she starts to have a vision.
It's a scene of pure horror. She doesn't just see the future, she smells the past. She says the house breathes with the murder of blood.
Wow.
She sees the phantom children of Thyestes, the ones who were eaten, sitting on the roof, holding their own entrails.
That image, holding their own entrails, it's so visceral.
It shows that the past isn't dead. It's not even past. The house is haunted by its crimes.
Yeah.
And then she sees what is about to happen. She sees the net. She sees the axe. She screams, "Keep the bull from the cow."
She's trying to warn them.
She is screaming the truth, but the chorus just stands there. They don't get it.
They're just confused.
They think she's babbling, that she's just a mad foreign woman. And this is the deep tragedy of the Greek worldview. Knowledge doesn't save you. Cassandra knows exactly what is going to happen. She knows she is walking in to die, but she can't change it. Fate is inescapable.
How does that compare to biblical prophecy? Because that seems very different.
It's a world of difference. Think of Jonah. He goes to Nineveh and says, 40 days and the city will be destroyed. That's a prophecy.
Right.
But what happens? The people repent. The king puts on sackcloth and sits in ashes. And God relents. The city is saved.
So in the Bible, the future it's fluid. It depends on our response.
It depends on relationship. Prophecy in the Bible is usually a...
But in Agamemnon.
In Agamemnon, the future is a concrete wall, and you're just watching the car crash into it in slow motion.
That feeling of helplessness, it's suffocating.
It is. One scholar described the world of this play as a cold alien planet with no forgiveness.
No forgiveness. That phrase just lands.
None. Think about it. There is no mechanism in this entire play to say, I'm sorry. There is no way to wipe the slate clean. Blood inevitably calls for blood, period.
And this is where the pre-gospel idea really clicks for me. Because if you live in that world, a world of pure karma, pure consequence, you're doomed.
We're all doomed.
We are all Agamemnon. We all have a past. We all have a net of some kind.
And that is why the concept of grace is so shattering. It's an alien concept to this world. When Paul writes in Ephesians, "By grace you have been saved, not of works," he is offering a way out of the House of Atreus. He is saying the cycle can be broken, not by us paying the debt, but by the debt being canceled.
The Christian can look at Clytemnestra and say, I don't have to be you. I don't have to kill to balance the scales. I can forgive.
But we can only forgive because we have been forgiven. That resource doesn't exist in Argos. It has to be imported from heaven.
Let's talk about suffering. Because the chorus has this famous line about Zeus. It's beautiful and haunting. They say Zeus has laid it down that wisdom comes alone through suffering.
Pathaimathos. It's the most famous phrase in Aeschylus, learning through suffering.
Is that true? In the world of the play, do they learn?
Well, that's the debate, isn't it? Agamemnon suffers, he dies. Does he learn? It's too late. Clytemnestra will suffer. Does she learn? No, she becomes a tyrant. The wisdom Aeschylus offers is a tragic wisdom.
What do you mean by that?
It's the wisdom of realizing, oh, I shouldn't have done that, right as the axe falls. It's wisdom that comes after the fact, when it's too late to change anything.
That's bleak.
It is. Now compare that to Romans 5. Suffering produces perseverance, perseverance character, and character hope.
A completely different trajectory.
In the Christian view, suffering is a workshop. It's constructive. It's painful, yes, but it's leading somewhere. It's making you more human, not destroying you.
In Aeschylus, suffering is just the grinding of the gears of the universe. It's a meat grinder.
Exactly. It's punitive. In Christ, it's redemptive.
This leads us to the final big theme I want to touch on, the scapegoat. The sacrifice. The play is bookended by sacrifices.
Yes, Iphigenia at the beginning, Agamemnon at the end.
And both are sacrifices intended to fix things. Iphigenia is sacrificed to fix the winds. Agamemnon is sacrificed to fix the justice of the house.
But neither of them works. Iphigenia's death starts a war and a family blood feud. Agamemnon's death starts a civil war. There are failed sacrifices. The blood doesn't wash anything clean. It just stains the floor even more.
And I think this is where the listener, if they're really engaging with the story, feels a longing. You want a sacrifice that works. You want something that actually stops the wheel from turning.
And that is the cross. This is where the theology of the atonement connects so powerfully to this ancient tragedy. Christ is the anti-Agamemnon. Agamemnon sacrifices his innocent daughter to save his career and his ambition. God the Father sacrifices his innocent son to save his enemies. It's a complete inversion.
And he's the anti-Iphigenia, too.
Yes, she was dragged to the altar, gagged, kicking and screaming. An unwilling victim. Christ says, "No one takes my life from me, but I lay it down of my own accord." He is the willing victim.
And because he is innocent and because he is God, his sacrifice does what Agamemnon's couldn't. It absorbs the curse.
That's the key. That's everything. Galatians 3:13. Christ redeemed us from the curse of the law by becoming a curse for us. Think of the curse in Agamemnon like a hot potato of death.
A hot potato of death. I like that.
Atreus passes it to Agamemnon. Agamemnon passes it to Clytemnestra. She'll pass it to Orestes. It never stops being passed.
Until the cross.
The cross is where the hot potato stops. Christ catches it, holds it, and lets it kill him. And because he rises from the dead, the curse dies with him. He breaks the cycle of violence by refusing to pass it on, by absorbing it.
That is, man, that is a powerful way to look at it. The play shows us the what-if world. The world without that event. The world that's just stuck on repeat.
And honestly, that's a world we still see glimpses of today. Look at international politics. Look at gang violence. Look at feuds on social media even.
Cancel culture.
Absolutely. It's all House of Atreus stuff. It's all, you hurt me, so I must hurt you. It's the logic of the curse.
We are naturally Aeschylean. We are naturally vengeful.
We are. Grace is unnatural. Forgiveness is supernatural. That's why we need the gospel. It's not our default setting.
So as we wrap this up, and this has been heavy but really good, let's summarize. Why should the person listening to this, maybe while they're driving to work or folding laundry, go out and read a 2,500-year-old play?
Okay, 3 quick reasons. First, read it for the diagnosis. It's a mirror. It shows us that sin is real, that choices have real lasting consequences, and that we are often trapped in nets of our own making. It cuts through our modern illusion that we are totally free and innocent.
It's a reality check on human nature.
A powerful one. Second, read it to understand the danger of vengeance. It dramatizes why getting even is a trap. It shows that human justice, when left to its own devices, is always flawed and always insufficient.
And third,
read it to appreciate the cure. Let the darkness of Argos make you grateful for the light of Jerusalem. When you see how hopeless the world is without an atonement, the atonement becomes not just a doctrine, but a lifeline. It becomes precious.
It's spoiling the Egyptians, taking the gold of their questions to build the temple of our answers.
Exactly. Aeschylus asks the right question. He asks, who can cut the net? He just doesn't have an answer. The play ends in a standoff, with more bloodshed on the horizon.
But the Christian knows the answer.
The Christian knows the answer.
It's not what cuts the net, it's who.
And that changes everything.
Well, I think I'm going to go read something a little lighter now, maybe the songs. But I am really glad we went on this journey. It gives you a lot to chew on.
It certainly does. A masterpiece for a reason.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.